The purpose of this video is to talk about plate tectonics and what causes those plates to move. You've probably heard about the plates that make up the crust of the Earth and how these plates are going to be in constant motion. They're going to constantly be moving past one another. And as a result of this constant motion, scientists believe that they have an idea of what the Earth looked like originally and what one massive supercontinent may have looked like. And we'll talk about that in a different video. But for now, the idea that the crust is going to be broken up into these different regions that are going to have the ability to move is something worth discussing. The scientists are going to estimate that these plates move at a blazing speed of about 4 inches per year. They say that that's comparable to about how fast your fingernails and toenails are going to grow. So it's not super quick, and yet it's fast enough that if you take into consideration thousands or millions of years, they're going to move significant distances from each other. These regions of the plates meeting up are going to be the regions where we most commonly see um, movement in the form of earthquakes and volcanoes. So especially if we look right here along this region, we know that California and the West Coast in general, they're susceptible to earthquakes. There are certain regions in South America that are also susceptible to earthquakes. And we're going to talk about the whys of what causes that. And it's important to note that there are many different factors that cause it, but one of the main factors that are going to cause the movement of these plates is going to be the concept of convection. Convection is a scientific concept that explains that when you have two different fluids, a fluid is any substance that takes the shape of its container. When you have two different fluids, the warmer fluid is going to rise and the cooler fluid is going to sink. So if you think to your house, the second floor or the attic is usually going to be super hot in the summer. The basement is going to be the coolest location within the house. That idea essentially explains a convection current and how it's going to work. If we take a look at the picture on the left side, it is simulating a boiling pot of water, and the source of the heat is going to be at the very bottom. That hot water is going to rise up, and in the process of that hot water rising up, it's going to push down cooler water, and it's actually going to push that cooler water down towards the heat source. And then that water is going to get heated up, and it's going to circulate back up to the very top. And a pot of water will boil or reach boiling using this idea, the circulation method. And if we take a look over here at the right at the layers of the Earth, we notice that there's the crust on the top and then the mantle, and then we have the core. The core is going to be warmer than the crust. So the core is like our heat source. It's like our stove, comparing the image over here to the left. The magma that is in the mantle is going to get heated up near the core. That heated up magma is going to rise, and in the process of rising up, it's going to take whatever magma was there and kind of push it out of the way. And eventually, that magma is going to cool down enough that it's going to sink down, come near the core again. And when it comes near the core, it gets heated up and it pushes back towards the crust, and it will circulate and continue to circulate. And this idea of having a fluid, in this case magma, rise, move, sink, move, rise, is going to be called a convection current. Now, it's important to note that these convection currents, they're going to butt up against one another at locations where the tectonic plates are generally going to be in contact with one another. So this may be like California, where there's a plate that is going underneath another plate, and this simulates a mountain range where there may be two different plates that are essentially, I guess, pulling away from each other, creating a valley. There are all different explanations for it, but the movement of the crust is going to be caused by the convection currents of the mantle, which is super important to take note of.